So welcome to my channel. My name is Julie if we haven't met before, and today I'm participating in the Just Our Imagination Challenge, as you could see from the thumbnail. Our host is Kathy at Kathy Joe's DIYs, Brenda at Rustic Lace DIYs, and the guest host is Clary at Clary's Creations. And the links to their channels, as well as the link to the whole playlist, will be down in the description. So after this video, please take a look at that. Now, here are the 3 items that we are working with today, which makes it just our imagination: tumbling blocks and fake nails and an embroidery hoop. The fake nails, I have to say, threw me for a loop. I'm not going to give away what we're making just yet. But first thing we're going to do is take this Waverly antiquing wax, and I want to tone down the brightness of the wood on the embroidery hoop and also these lighter colored tumbling blocks. So I'm just going to take my little sponge brush here, and I am going to get some of my wax on there and proceed to get a nice even coat all the way around the outside of this hoop, making sure I get into that little crease as well. We are also going to get a good coat on the inside of the hoop, as well as making sure that we get the whole outside rim. I wanted the whole thing covered, and I will wipe that down with a paper towel in a little bit, but we're going to set that aside, and nice messy fingers and all, we're going to continue on, and we're going to get these light colored blocks done as well. And these ones, I also want to do all of the edges and the ends so that we get full coverage. And once I get a layer on these blocks, I am then going to take my paper towel and I'm going to wipe off the excess just so it looks more even, and also it helps it dry a lot quicker. And once I have all of my little tumbling blocks done, then we are going to start assembling. But I wanted to show you the difference of how it looks. Now, if you don't mind the bright, that's okay. I just wanted a more natural look on this project. So now I'm going to take my 2 pieces of my embroidery hoop, and I want to have a little gap at the bottom, but they're going to be attached snug at the top. So I'm just going to take one of these clips. This is one of the larger clips you can get at the Dollar Tree, and I think I got these in the auto section a long time ago. Oh no, I got these in the sewing section, sorry. And then I'm going to just put my little blocks that I did down on the bottom, and what I'm aiming for with the first main blocks on the center is just to have that piece of wood go completely end to end and not have any gaps going past. So I'm just going to work on getting that first layer exactly the way I want it, or that first brick I should say. And then the second one is going to be the exact same way, and I'm going to alternate the color. So it's going to be the dark chocolate brown and then the piece of stained wood. And I'm going to alternate those back and forth on this hoop until I get a little bit of kind of a platform going on the bottom here. And I could have used a little bit of wood glue, but I finally found my wood glue and it was a little past its prime. So this is just getting done with hot glue. It's not going to be bonked or moved around a whole lot, so it will hold just fine. And just trying to give you a little bit of different angle here, but unfortunately the camera was focusing more on the hoop than it was on my little piece of a block down there that I'm trying to glue. There we go. Take the hoop off, or the clip off, now that we have some good secured pieces on the bottom to hold it in place. And now that I've got some on the bottom, I just want to take a little bit of hot glue, put it on the underside hoop, tuck that underneath the top one, and then I'm going to pinch that together and hold it until it is secured into place. And I'm just removing some of the stringy glue and any glue that might have seeped out between the edges. And there is a little bit of gap in the back, but I pinched that a little bit more and it tightened down. So now what I'm trying to figure out is weight-wise, because this is a circle, you kind of have to get an even distribution of weight with the blocks on each side, or it will kind of lean one side more than the other. So I am trying to figure out how many more blocks I want to put on for the base. And once I've decided, and I kind of wanted the colors to be the same on each end. So I wanted to end with a lighter colored block on each end or a darker colored block on each end. This is what it looks like underneath, and you can see they start to hang over a little bit as the hoop closes in. That doesn't matter. I was just mostly concerned with getting it nice and even at the very center point of the base. Now I went out and foraged these pine cones off the property and let them dry, and I really wanted to use them, but they just ended up being too big and bulky. So I'm going to use these little white flocked pine cones that I have on a pick because they're smaller. They're still very pretty, but I love to use things that I can collect out of my yard. And I'm just going to take my little snippers here and snip off. I originally was going to do 3 on each side, but as you'll see coming up here, I ended up doing 4 pine cones. So I want a couple of big ones, and then a medium one, and then a smaller one. Now this is what threw me for the loop, were these nails. I had several ideas, I kept scrapping them, and I finally joked that I was just gonna glue them onto my fingers and bite them off because I was like, what the heck do you do with fake nails in a craft project? But I decided to use my gold Sharpie and color them all on one side, and then as soon as that was dry, I flipped them over and did another coat on the underside just to be sure that there wasn't any streaking. And now this is a little fake bottle brush tree that I picked up at Goodwill, and it was a little wonky. It wasn't very pretty, but I decided I could use it in this project. So I'm going to take the nails now that I measured what the little wood base of the tree height was, and I'm going to cut off the pointy tip of the nail and then measure how far up I need to go to cut off the little slightly rounded edge on the bottom of the nail so that these will fit perfectly. Well, I shouldn't say perfectly, but they will fit around the base of the piece of wood of this. And what I'm going to do is kind of use these as a gold skirt, or like some people put baskets around the base of their tree, or a little metal rim. So this is going to kind of be that same order. It's going to kind of look like a gold little basket that is lining the whole base of the tree. So because the nails are slightly curved, I did have to put a generous amount of hot glue down and then press the arching center of that nail down pretty hard with my thumb and hold it there for probably a good 15 seconds plus on each one of these, just to make sure that they didn't come up. Now this is what it looks like. I need to remove the glue, and I'm going to adorn that a little bit more as we get this project put together. But I have these little beads, and I decided I wanted to kind of dress up the little Christmas tree. So I glued the very top of it up there, and was the first round that I just took apart. I was just trying to size up how I wanted the spacing of the swirl going down the tree, and I wanted it a little tighter, so I just readjusted that, and I only glued this at the very top, and I'm only going to put a little dab of glue at the very bottom. I'm not gluing it all throughout. And then I have these little sweet velvet bows that I picked up at the Hobby Lobby. I'm going to be putting some of those on there. And then this is a little jingle bell that I decided that was just going to be at the very top of the tree. I have little gold wooden stars and some plain wooden stars, but I just kind of thought a little jingle bell might be cute at the top, give it a little bit of a different look. So I'm just going to start gluing some of my bows around. And then I decided that I wanted this little piece of metal to not be so bright. And the initial thing that I was going to do was just set this on a table, and so that's where this would show. So I wanted to tone it down to kind of make it more cohesive with the rest. And then I put a huge dollop of hot glue on the bottom, and then I glued this little bright gold star that I got in a pack at the Hobby Lobby on it, put another big dollop of glue on that, and then I set it down on the base. And the reason why I had to do this is because the curve of the base, that flat wooden piece on the bottom of the tree, there was a big gap underneath. So the star is going to fill that gap. So I'm just going to hold this for a little while. I probably held this for about 20 seconds because I did have a lot of hot glue on there. And then I'm going to take those pine cones that we cut off just a little earlier, and I am going to glue these around the base of the tree on either side. So I'm just going to put one in the front, and then I'm going to twirl my creation around, and then I will glue one on the back side. Even though this will either set on a table facing one direction or hanging one direction, I still wanted to have kind of the cohesiveness of, you know, some in the front, some in the back. And then I tucked one in the center, and then I'm going to repeat the same process on this side. I'm going to put one in the front, in the back, and one in the middle, and then one on top. And then this is what it looked like at this point. And then I thought, you know what, let's make a hanger on this. And I only do that lately because I have a 3.5-year-old granddaughter who loves to explore everything with her hands. And sometimes it's just easier for me to hang things up where she can admire them but not touch them. So I am going to wrap some jute twine all around, and I'm just covering up that piece of metal that I put the rub and buff on. And then as soon as I get done, I'm just gonna put a little dollop of hot glue on there, wrap it up until it's dried, and then once it's dried, I'll snip that off, as well as that little extra shaggy piece hanging there. And then I'm going to take another piece of jute, and I am going to fold it in half so that I can find the center. And then that center, I will loop around the little twisty nut at the top, and then I'm going to tie a knot on that so it stays in place at the center. And then I'm going to put a little dollop of hot glue on the back side of that knot to hold it in place. And now what I really wanted to do was to loop both of these pieces of jute twine through these little beads that I had, and the hole was just too small. So I kind of had to go to plan B and just kind of alternate one bead on one and one bead on the other. And it might be kind of hard to see, but once I got one on each of the pieces of string, then I looped one of the pieces of jute twine around between the two balls, and then I wrapped it back up, and then I tied a knot on the top of the second one. And now, like I say, this is just kind of plan B because I really was hoping to have them all in a row, but it kind of alternated them, and it almost kind of ended up looking a little bit like a braid with some beads in it, but not exactly. But like I say, it was plan B, and this is going to hang from the ceiling, so it turned out fine. And then I'm going to take, and even though they ended up a little uneven, I'm going to do kind of like a little slip knot, and then I'm going to push the knot all the way up to the top as close as I can get, pull it really taut, and then I will cut off that excess piece of jute, and then I have my little loop for hanging. And here is what it looks like when it's all done. Let me know what you think. I think it turned out really sweet. As you can see, as we scroll back down, I did end up putting a few more bows on the tree, and then I put a little bit of jute around the top and the base of those fake nails that we put on there. And I do need to still hit it with a hair dryer to get some of the hot glue pieces off, but this is what it ended up like, and I was kind of pleased that I was able to figure out what to do with those hot nails. Now, I also do gardening and other things on this channel, so if that interests you, I would love to have you subscribe. It means so much to me, and if you hit that thumbs up button, it really does help my channel by pushing my content out to other people. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.